I am the philosophical bachelor, and today I want to talk about how philosophers such as Heidegger and Levinas, Mayeroff and Frankl relate to the ethics of care. Husserl is Heidegger's teacher, and he talks about the intentionality of the subject, where the subject has an intention towards the object. But this still is a classic dichotomy between the subject and the object, which is the world. Heidegger transforms this conception into a unique conception of the Dasein, where Dasein is the being in the world, is a being that is involved in the world. We are thrown into the world into an already existing context of meaning, and things are understood by Dasein in terms of its function, and it has an instrumental view towards things. We do not come into contact with other Daseins in a direct way, even though we are in the world together, but we are not related in a direct way. Dasein's interaction with the world is primarily directed towards unfolding its own being, so it is self-directed. Dasein experiences angst because of a possibility of meaninglessness and the inevitability of death, which resembles our finitude. So the Dasein is oriented towards the past, the present, and the future, and all these three orientations of Dasein are united in Sorge or care. However, the primacy should be given to the future because that's where the Dasein comes to be, where the Dasein is a potentiality that comes into its fulfillment in the future. We bear the responsibility, the care to make something of the situations we find ourselves in, according to Heidegger. We are historical beings. However, there can be too much focus on the current being, where we flee from our potentiality into the Gastman. The Gastman for Heidegger is the other, is the group where we are caught up in the daily things to avoid the loneliness of authentic existence of the being towards death, and cutting ourselves away also from the past. We engage in this idle chatter of the Gastman as a distraction from what is important. Heidegger presents care as a life-creating force in a myth found smack in the middle of Sein und Zeit, or his book Being and Time. And his purpose of the myth is to say that Dasein originates in care, but this care is a care for its own being. So Heidegger is not offering an ethical perspective here. Heidegger's image of a self-unfolding Dasein is a solitary person who must accomplish the task of becoming alone. If at all, the other is depicted as a negative force of the Gastman, so Heidegger does not value the relationality. Levinas makes an advance on what Heidegger has to say. For Heidegger, all other beings are viewed from the perspective of the Dasein. It is a totalizing view where the Dasein is a totalizing force. For Levinas, knowing is when the alterity between the others and ourself disappears. For Heidegger, because Dasein is concerned about its own death, it is heroic, authentic, and radically alone. For Levinas, death is a total and complete inability, and in this way it is a radical alterity, the heteronomy of which breaks the solitude of our ego. We are not just concerned about our own deaths, we are also concerned about the death of others, and it also touches us, appealing to us to transform and integrate our self-unfolding into solidarity and concern for the other. We suffer when we see others suffering. Care then becomes the desire to lessen the misery of others, creating an ethical relation. We encounter the other with the appearance and the recognition of the face of the other. We communicate with language originating in the speech of the other, which asks me not to kill him. I am addressed by the other, and hence am called upon to give an answer. This answerability to the other is the call of the ethical relation. We have a responsibility because of the other's vulnerability. Writ large, our social, political, and legal relations derives from our personal relation with the other. This is in contrast to Heidegger, where the Gastman is not speaking to Dasein, but the design is spoken by the other. So Levinas talks about relations, which is the basis for the ethics of care. Mayeroff and Frankl talks about the self-unfolding while we are getting a meaning-generating power where we are receiving and providing care. The search for meaning is the most significant power in human existence according to Frankl. The other is seen in his alterity, not as the enemy but as someone unique and valuable. My care helps the others unfold, while I also unfold. So it is an ethical self-unfolding where my self-unfolding surpasses my egocentrism and attaches itself to responsibility for others. This is a kind of self-transcendence when I orient myself towards someone or something else. We unfold not by being concerned with our own fulfillment in contrast to what Heidegger has to say, but when we are concerned with others. Meaning cannot be sought directly, but appears when I'm busy with people and things, when I'm involved in the world. When I'm involved in the world, I discover life to be meaningful, and I don't have to give meaning to it myself. Thank you.